Fellow FPL managers, we are here today to be looking at players to buy for Double Game Week 33, arguably the most important game week of the season so far. Now we're going to be looking at Double Game Week players here exclusively. So if you are one of those guys who has already a full team of Double Game Week players, then fair play to you, mate. You completed FPL. You're a lot better than I am. You don't even need to be here. Another thing I want to mention. I'm assuming every single person watching this video has either their free hit or their second wildcard left. If you don't, you're going to struggle in Game Week 34 because everybody who doubles in Game Week 33 will blank in Game Week 34. So, if you have like 5 free transfers saved up, that also works. But, you kind of want free hit and wildcard for Game Week 34. If you don't, you may be a little bit stuck in the mud with this one, or you may need to take a few hits. The first team of players I want to look at is Crystal Palace. Now guys, if you don't already have 3 Crystal Palace players, you're a casual. So I'm not going to talk about Crystal Palace players, but the Crystal Palace triple up is so simple anyway. You're either going to have what's on the screen here, Munoz, Sarr and Mateta, or you're going to have Eze instead of Munoz or Sarr. Pretty fucking simple. I mean, there's no two ways to go about it. You already have 3 Crystal Palace players, so I'm not going to dive too deep into it. And if you're one of those guys who for some reason doesn't have Triple Palace, you already know who to buy. Let's be honest, it's dead simple. The only other team I think you should be tripling up on is Arsenal this game week. They're the only other team that doubles with 3 reliable assets. Now, with Arsenal, you can go one of 2 ways. Obviously, you want Bukayo Saka, even though he's been a bit of a rotation risk recently. I think after that Real Madrid game, he's going to be fine to start most Premier League games because they're not in any other competition. And Saka's used to starting 3 games in a week. Before his injury, he was never a rotation risk. So once he's been eased back in, there's going to be no problem with his minutes. The next thing you want after that is an Arsenal defender, whether it's Raya, whether it's Saliba, whether it's Kiwior. They're all pretty reliable options, but mainly Saliba. He's the best one. As for the third Arsenal player, you either go double up on the Arsenal defence or you go a double up on the Arsenal attack. Now, even though Arsenal have been frustrating recently, only keeping 1 clean sheet in their last 5, they have only conceded 1 goal in each of those games, and it's been quite unlucky for them. I mean, the expected clean sheets for Arsenal are obviously the highest in the last 5 games. The expected goals conceded are obviously the lowest. They are the best defence in the league, and they're playing a couple decent fixtures. I mean, the Crystal Palace game, I don't expect a clean sheet, but that Ipswich one, I do. But you could go a different route. You could go for a double up on the Arsenal attack. That is a riskier option because you've got players like Martinelli, who I have here, the most predicted minutes out of any attacking Arsenal player, except for Odegaard. But personally, I don't think Odegaard is anywhere near worth the amount of money he's costing. The chances are all your Arsenal forwards, Martinelli, Trossard, Sterling, Nwaneri, however you say his name, they're all going to be rotated. None of them are going to start both games, and if they do, I'll be shocked. But the guy who is most likely to start both games is Martinelli, and he's kind of been stinking up recently on the pitch, performance-wise. He's not been doing too well. So this third Arsenal player, guys, whether it's a defender, whether it's a forward, it doesn't matter too much if you don't have an Arsenal triple up. You can do it if you have that luxury, if you have that privilege, but you really don't need to. It's not necessary. As for Man City, there's only 2 players I'd recommend getting from Man City because everybody else is just so god-awful, All the forwards, all the midfielders, they're all rotation risks, and they don't even get goal involvements when they do play. So what is really the point of even picking anyone else from the front line except Marmoush? Guys, he's the only one who's actually going to be reliable for you and get you points. I mean, the expected goals in the last 5 games is very high. It's insanely high, almost the first in the entire game across the last 5 games. And he puts them away as well. 2.9 expected goals, 3 goals scored, awesome. And the creative side of things as well, he's also pretty solid. 4 big chances created is insane, especially when paired with the 4 big chances he's had as well. The fixtures themselves, they're not too bad. Away to Everton and home to Aston Villa is pretty good. It's not amazing, you don't salivate over it, but you like it. You get pretty excited over it. As for minutes, he's expected to play and start both games and stay on for a long while, only get subbed off in the 84th minute. So he's not a minutes risk this game week. I think he's going to start both, and I'm fairly certain he's going to play nearly till the final whistle. Even after the double, if you're one of those guys who's using free hit, he plays home to Wolves and away to Southampton. He's a player you're going to want in your team for the foreseeable future. So yeah, Marmoush, only City attacker you should be looking at. He's the only good one. I'm hearing shouts of Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Doku, Savinho. Guys, don't get any ideas. Like, I'm going to keep it real with you. You may as well just keep a single Game Week player in your team at that point. The only other reliable City player comes in the defence, and it is obviously Gvardiol, the only Man City player who's predicted to play the full 90 of every game. Yes, not even Edison is predicted to play the full 90 of these game weeks. He's predicted to play 80 something minutes, which is ridiculous. You know, Pep Roulette is getting out of hand. And, you know, I know Edison was technically injured, so that's why. But, you know, you guys get what I mean. He's the only player that's really guaranteed to play, start, and stay on the entire game, which for defenders is sometimes annoying when they concede a late goal. But Man City, clean sheet wise, they do okay. They're not like Arsenal conceding after the 80th minute of every single game. And away to Everton and home to Aston Villa, 2 games with clean sheet potential. And he's got that goal threat going forward as well, you know, the creative potential. And obviously, the fixtures after the blank are insanely good. Now, the final team to talk about that's going to double is Aston Villa. Now, I bet you're wondering, you know, what Aston Villa players is Bodder's going to say to buy? Which ones are the best to go for? You know, all these attackers. Rashford, Asensio, Watkins, Rodgers, Tielemans, you know, so many good options. Who can we pick? Guys, I'm going to keep it real, okay? Pretty much none of them. In fact, the only players in the Aston Villa team who are, you know, reliably starting almost every week is Rodgers, Tielemans, and Konza. That's it. And I'm telling you right now, you're not going to want Konza when they play Newcastle and Man City, and you don't really want to spend one of your midfielder slots on bloody Tielemans. I mean, come on now. Rodgers is the only Aston Villa player I like. And sure enough, out of Asensio, Watkins and Rashford, one of those 3 guys is probably going to pop off, you know. It's not guaranteed, but that's probably the most likely scenario. The issue is not one person can predict the player that's actually going to do well. So what you want to do is go with old reliable, the trusty pick, Morgan Rodgers. He's going to play, he's going to start, and he's good value for money. You know, he's not the most exciting pick, but realistically, from Aston Villa, he is the only guy you should be looking at. If you've got Morgan Rodgers, you don't need to buy any more Aston Villa players. Like, you should prioritise Arsenal, Palace, and City players. Because even this Aston Villa double, it's not easy. Playing against Newcastle and Man City, I don't expect them to get more than a draw and a loss. Now, I know I'm like pushing everyone to get Rodgers, but I'm going to be without a single Aston Villa player, so I'm not going to own Morgan Rodgers. But if I could, you know, without taking a -4, I definitely would. The guy's on good form, 5 goal involvements in his last 5 games. I don't expect that to continue. I mean, the games coming up are quite difficult. And in this double game week, I really only see 1 goal involvement max. And in game week 35 and game week 36, it's the exact same, 1 goal involvement from those 2 games. And I know that doesn't sound amazing, but for 5.6 million, I'd say you're getting a pretty good deal. So guys, those are the double game week 33 players I think you should buy. There's no one else I would recommend. You know, there are going to be players that do score high that I haven't recommended, but you know, I'm not a fortune teller. I do apologise. Let me know if you think I missed anyone out. Let me know if you think I'm chatting utter nonsense and I should be banned from making FPL content. And if you did make it this far, thank you very much for sticking around. Thank you very much for watching. You are appreciated, and I will see you guys all in the next video.